We are now 32 films deep into the MCU, so we're gonna take a look back at the past 12 months, what's happened, what's going on right now, and what's gonna happen in the next 12 months. This is the State of the Marvel Cinematic Universe 2023. So let's go back to May of 2022. Everybody was running up that hill. Stephen Curry was on his way to secure another championship, and we witnessed the best multiversal movie ever made. And we witnessed a really good multiversal movie directed by the GOAT Sam Raimi. I'm talking about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Now, I know this wasn't everyone's favorite movie, but honestly, I really liked it. The way it looks, the story, the nerdy multiversal stuff, even though we didn't get to see much of it. But I mean, we got to see Charles Xavier in this movie, so that was awesome. There's definitely a lot of things you can change from it. Scarlet Witch wasn't the greatest villain. She was cool. A lot of people will say that this was just a fan service fest. However, it worked for me. I really enjoyed it. This was a really fun movie. Then the very next month, we get the Miss Marvel show, and that was a really nice surprise. I had no expectations before watching it, but shout out to Iman Vellani because she did really good. She was really sweet. She really feels like the character. You see the love that she has for Captain Marvel and all these other heroes. She truly is a fan. The show wasn't perfect, but I especially enjoyed her interactions with her parents. I can definitely relate to having strict parents when I was growing up, so seeing her struggle with that on screen, it really hit home. Then we jump to July for... oh no. Oh jeez. Taika, you had one job! You ruined Gore the God Butcher! Look, all joking aside, Thor wasn't horrible. Yes, it had too much humor. Yes, they ruined Gore the God Butcher. Yes, Taika, I don't know what Taika was thinking, but it's still not the worst Marvel movie. When I think of horrible, I think of the abomination that Morbius was, especially that after credit scene. That was a pain to watch. Thor was still fun. I still had some fun with it, and I'm sure Chris Hemsworth really loves this character, so he probably gave it all he had with what was given to him. I feel bad for the character of Jane. This was supposed to be a really touching story, but I didn't feel anything at all. You can blame the writing and the directing for that. Now, when it comes to Taika Waititi, would I want him to be back for another Marvel movie? Actually, yes, and I want him to make another Thor movie and just redeem himself, because we all know that he's a really good director. Have you seen Jojo Rabbit or What We Do in the Shadows? The man knows what he's doing. He just needs another shot. Moving on to August, we have She-Hulk. Look, I don't have much to say about She-Hulk. It was okay. I think I came to the conclusion that I just wasn't part of the demographic that this show was aiming for. There were a few moments that I enjoyed, but the highlight of this was obviously Tatiana Maslany. She was really good in this. I actually went back to watch a show that she was in years ago called Orphan Black. That's a really good show. Oh, and also we had Daredevil in this show, which was a little bit odd, but it makes sense because she's a lawyer and Daredevil, he's a lawyer, so I guess it made sense. And it was good seeing Charlie Cox back in the MCU. In case you forgot, we saw him in No Way Home, so this was his second appearance in the MCU. But that's it. Not much to say. It was okay, so let's move on. Next on the list is Werewolf by Night, and this had to be one of my favorite things that Marvel put out last year. This was directed by Michael Giacchino. He also did the soundtrack for No Way Home. And man, this just felt so different. I love that the whole time it was just black and white because it really fits what Michael Giacchino was going for. And the story and the characters were very interesting. We follow Elsa Bloodstone, which I'll be honest, I know nothing about from the comics, and Jack Russell, who was the werewolf. And when I was watching this, I knew that we were gonna get the werewolf at one point, point. What I was not expecting is that the werewolf was going to be practical. One of my favorite moments was when the camera stayed on Elsa and it was slowly zooming in and you saw the shadow of Jack Russell as he was transforming into the werewolf. That was really cool. And let's not forget about the Man-Thing. This was the first time that we saw him on screen in the MCU. He looked really good when it was black and white, but even when everything was color, he still looked really good. So shout out to the people that worked on the special effects for this one. I really hope that we start seeing more of these one-shots. And also, I hope that we see Man-Thing again, or the werewolf, or Elsa Bloodstone in the MCU. Michael Giacchino really proved himself, and I really hope that they give him either more one-shots for him to work with, or just give the man a film. Let him do an MCU movie, but let him cook, let him bring his style to the table. Next on the list is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I do not envy Ryan Coogler. He had a really tough assignment. He had to make a sequel after losing his main star, and I'm sure that that was a challenge. Chadwick Boseman, it was really unfortunate that we lost him, and to be honest, I wasn't sure how this movie was gonna turn out. I still think that maybe the best thing would have been to just recast, but I understand that they just wanted to honor Chadwick Boseman and they decided to just retire the character. However, I think Shuri really worked for me. I did not mind that she was the Black Panther. She really carried the movie. I think everybody around her also did really good. I think Namor is one of the best villains I've seen in the MCU. I really loved his backstory, those flashbacks to when he was a kid, how he got his name. That was really awesome. I went to see this movie twice and I really enjoyed it, especially the soundtrack, which was produced by, I'm probably gonna pronounce his name wrong, by Ludwig Göransson. He has worked in other things like The Mandalorian. He has worked with Childish Gambino. This guy is a genius, and once again he killed it with the soundtrack for this movie. But overall, this was a really cool movie. It was really touching, and I'm really looking forward to see what's next for the Black Panther. I wonder if Ryan Coogler is interested in finishing the trilogy or if he's just gonna leave it at 2 movies. It's gonna be interesting to see. But overall, this was one of the best movies in Phase 4. Really enjoyed it. We're almost at the end of 2022. It's November and Marvel gives us Guardians of the Galaxy, the holiday special. Not much to say about this one. It was a really fun one shot, but I really enjoy what this one shot did for the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 movie. And what I mean is that this one shot carried a little bit of the weight, so by the time we watch Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, they don't have to do as much explanation. We're just ready to go. If you never saw the holiday special, in it they explain that Mantis is actually Peter's sister. They introduce Cosmo. I believe that they also established that they stay in the planet Nowhere, and they make sure to let us know that Peter is kinda sad still after losing Gamora. And this is what I mean. The one shot did all these things, so by the time we got to the movie, they didn't have to explain all these things. We were just ready to go. Overall, this was a really fun holiday special. James Gunn, this guy cannot miss. I really enjoyed Drax and Mantis together. That was really fun. So that was a really good watch. Let's move on. It is now February 2023 and the next movie in our list is Ant-Man 3 Quantumania, aka Infinity War if Infinity War didn't focus on Thanos that much and the Avengers won in the end. Okay, all joking aside, I don't know if I can say anything else that hasn't been said about this movie. Honestly, I think this movie was one step above Thor: Love and Thunder, but I would definitely place it under the other Phase 4 movies like Doctor Strange, Shang-Chi, Wakanda Forever. I think that I would even put the Eternals above this movie. For me, the highlight of this movie was definitely Kang. Jonathan Majors is a really good actor, which also leads to the issue I had with this movie. I even mentioned it walking out of this movie with my friends. The issue that I had is that I wish this was Kang's movie, even if his name is not on the title. I wish Kang would have won in the end. And I wish the ending of this movie would have been what it looks like they were going for, because by the end of this movie, we get this happy ending, but it really felt like they were gonna leave Paul Rudd stuck in the quantum realm again, and it wasn't gonna be a happy ending. But with all that, I don't want to sound too negative. There were a few times where I was laughing. I really enjoyed the scene where we saw Paul Rudd playing multiple characters, and it was really hilarious when the version of Paul Rudd that works at Baskin-Robbins shows up. It was great. So yeah, Ant-Man 3. This movie had a lot of potential. Unfortunately, it didn't live up to it. But again, I wouldn't call this the worst Marvel movie. It was still a fun watch. Time is just flying. We are now in May, and it's time for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I already did a review over at the Slate podcast with my friends. I also have a short video about how I feel for this movie, so I'm not gonna talk about it for too long. However, all I'm gonna say is that this movie was everything I wanted it to be. I think James Gunn nailed it. I love that this movie wasn't afraid to go into a really dark place and show us the pain, the trauma, the guilt that Rocket has been carrying this whole time. I still believe that this was the best MCU movie since Endgame. And while it's not perfect, it did almost everything right. I'm also a huge fan of the rollout for this movie. All these posters, they were so good. And the soundtrack for this movie. James Gunn has a gift for choosing the music for every Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and once again he brought the heat for this movie. Can you tell that I really love this movie? I went to see it twice, and both times I teared up. It was crazy. This was also James Gunn's final project with Marvel. This was his last movie in this trilogy, and I'm really looking forward to see what he does over in DC and with the Superman movie. Really looking forward to it. That was a long recap, and as of this recording, we are now 2 weeks past Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So let's talk about where the MCU currently stands right now. In my opinion, I think Marvel is in a very tricky spot. On one hand, they just released one of their best movies in Guardians, but on the other hand, you just lost James Gunn, one of your best directors, and you're also dealing with other things that unfortunately it's outside of Marvel's control. I'm talking about the situation with Jonathan Majors. We still have no idea how that's gonna turn out and how it's gonna affect Marvel. Also, as of this recording, there's still a strike happening. All the writers are not working, and I don't think anyone knows when the strike will be over. I'm sure that's going to affect every single project for Marvel, except for the ones that have already been made and they're just ready to be released. So obviously that's gonna cause more delays, and we already had delays on projects like the X-Men animated show, What If, the Spider-Man freshman year show, the Blade movie. I'm sure I missed a few others, but it's not gonna be pretty if this writer's strike just keeps going for a few more months. It's just gonna delay everything. And just in case, I am not blaming the writers. I think that they should be getting paid fairly, and I hope they can find a resolution for this issue that I wasn't really aware that it was affecting the film industry. You see that in the music industry as well, where you see these streaming platforms like Spotify, they don't want to pay the artists what they deserve. But that's a whole nother topic. But I just hope that the writers get what they deserve. Before I move on to the last section of this video for what's coming in the next 12 months, I just want to quickly comment on the quote-unquote superhero movie fatigue. I hear a lot of people comment on that. I see people that say that maybe we're just experiencing fatigue and Marvel is just dropping way too many projects. The market is saturated and we're probably going to see a big decline of these movies. To be honest, I think people are just tired of bad movies. If superhero fatigue was really an actual thing, it would be consistent. You see people show up for the good movies. People didn't show up for Shazam 2. Now, I haven't seen the movie, but I hear it's not really good, so people didn't show up. But then you see movies like Guardians of the Galaxy come out and people showed up. And people showed up again the second week for Guardians. But then you see movies like Ant-Man 3. A lot of people showed up for that movie. Maybe not enough people, but it wasn't a great movie. Maybe not even a good movie. Just a fun movie. So the second week, people didn't show up. Actually, let me pull up the numbers. Ant-Man 3 had a 69% drop on the second weekend, and it was the biggest second weekend drop in the franchise. So again, I don't think people are tired of superhero movies. I think we just don't want to watch bad movies. The next 12 months feel promising. As of right now, we know that we are getting Secret Invasion in June. We have Loki Season 2 coming in October. We have the Marvels movie in November. Echo also drops in November on Disney+. And Captain America New World Order in May of 2024. That's not a bad list. I'm not really excited for Echo. Recently, we learned that they're just gonna drop all the episodes at once. I don't think that's a good sign, but I'm still gonna watch it with an open mind. I'm really excited for Secret Invasion, Nick Fury. I cannot wait to see him on it. Loki Season 2, it looks like it's going to pick up right after Season 1, and I cannot wait to see what they're gonna do. The Marvels, if they manage to capture that magic from the Miss Marvel show, it should be a good movie. And Captain America, I don't know what this movie is gonna be about, but I really like Anthony Mackie. I wasn't crazy for his Disney Plus show, but it was a fun watch, and I hope that in this movie he can really prove himself as the current Captain America in the MCU. Alright, and that's all I have. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments, how do you feel about the last 12 months for Marvel? How do you feel they're doing now? And are you excited for the next 12 months? Leave a like and subscribe if you like the content. Thank you so much again. Bye bye.